So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what legal precautions and steps you need to take before filming students in your classroom, some basic video techniques that you should use before filming yourself or others, and I will talk about a lesson that I would use with my students in my class. So first, before you record your video, you need to ensure that you have the appropriate permission from the parents or guardians allowing the student to be filmed. So you must have the Department of Education's consent to videotape a student for nonprofit use form filled out. If it is not filled out, the student will not be able to be filmed. Also make sure that it's up to date for each student in your classroom, the form. So again, if they're not permitted to be filmed, you may not obviously film them. If you're filming a whole group, you must place the camera away from the student that is not allowed to be filmed. So exclude them from all filming if they're not permitted to be filmed. In terms of basic video techniques when filming, you should always have the camera steady. If possible, place it on a tripod or another stabilized form of a tool, a desk, a chair, something that won't move. Don't pan the camera too quickly left and right. Keep it steady so the audience, the people watching, will be engaged and not distracted by the camera skills. The correct way to have the camera set up is horizontal, not vertical. So if it's horizontal, it gives a whole span, a whole big picture of what is going on, whereas vertical would show images kind of stretched out a little bit. They wouldn't be as visually accepted. Also avoid zooming, so have control while the camera is running. If you're zooming in and out, it can be pretty distracting to yourself or other people that are watching it. So just make sure that you're not, all over the place with your camera. Also, light is very important. So making sure that the main light is falling on the subject and is not behind it. Otherwise, you're going to be, the image that's being filmed, if the light's coming from behind it, the person's going to be, black. You won't be able to see anything. Also, this seems like a no-brainer, but you must always remember to push the record button. You wouldn't want to go through a whole lesson without actually recording yourself and your students. So once you've recorded successfully, once you've set it up successfully, just ignore the camera, start teaching, engage with the lesson, engage with your students, and just get going. So the closer the camera is to the object that's being filmed, or objects, the better for sound-wise. So if your camera is all the way across the room and you're, doing a unit 20 feet away, it may not be as good of an audio sample if it's, that far. So a little bit closer would be better for the audio. In terms of my lesson, I would do a story by Laura Numeroff called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. I would read the story to the students, and I would, after the story was over, we would do a bit of a math activity. So each child would get a plate of cookies, all containing different amounts of chocolate chips on them. I would want the students to count out how many chips were on each cookie, and then color that many chips on a blank cookie on a separate sheet of paper using crayons, colored pencils, dot markers, and then they would write that number of chocolate chips underneath the cookie. So it would be a little bit of a counting, one-to-one correspondence, and also practicing their numbers. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you.